The Florida Journeyman and Master Electrician exams are now administered by Thomson Prometric. These exams are based on the 2005 National Electrical Code, even though the state may not have officially adopted this edition until later. This means that the questions you will encounter will reference the requirements and regulations outlined in the 2005 NEC. It's important to familiarize yourself with the specific edition of the code to adequately prepare for the examination. In addition to the NEC, certain reference materials are now permitted for use during the exam. Firstly, Alternating Current Fundamentals, 6th edition, is allowed. This resource provides a comprehensive understanding of alternating current principles, circuits, and components. Secondly, Mike Holt's Illustrated Guide to Basic Electrical Theory, 2nd edition, is also permitted. This guide offers a user-friendly approach to learning electrical theory, with clear explanations and helpful illustrations. Thirdly, Printing based on the 2005 NEC 2005 edition is another authorized reference. This book focuses on the interpretation of electrical blueprints and diagrams, specifically as they relate to the 2005 NEC. These resources can be valuable tools during the exam, but it's important to remember that simply having them is not enough. You need to be familiar with their content and know how to quickly locate relevant information. Effective use of these references can significantly improve your chances of success on the Florida Electrician exams. Make sure to acquire these materials and dedicate sufficient time to studying them in conjunction with the 2005 NEC. Remember the importance of understanding the underlying electrical principles. This is crucial for applying the code effectively and solving practical problems in the field. When preparing for the exam, focus on key areas such as general wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding and bonding, equipment installation, and special occupancies. The NEC provides detailed requirements for each of these areas, and a thorough understanding is essential for passing the exam. When using the reference materials, focus on understanding the core concepts and principles rather than simply memorizing information. This will allow you to apply your knowledge to a wider range of problems and scenarios. Also, make sure you are familiar with the layout and organization of the 2005 NEC. Knowing how to quickly locate specific articles and sections is essential for efficiently using the code during the exam. Pay close attention to definitions and terminology used in the NEC. A clear understanding of these terms is essential for interpreting the code correctly. Practice answering sample questions and problems to test your knowledge and identify areas where you need further study. Work through a variety of scenarios to develop your problem-solving skills. Understand the requirements for calculating branch circuit and feeder sizes. This is a fundamental aspect of electrical design and is heavily emphasized in the NEC. Become familiar with the rules for selecting appropriate overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses. Proper overcurrent protection is critical for ensuring the safety of electrical systems. Study the requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. Effective grounding and bonding are essential for minimizing the risk of electrical shock and fire. Learn about the different types of wiring methods permitted by the NEC, such as conduit, cable, and raceway systems. Understand the applications and limitations of each wiring method. Be aware of the specific requirements for installing electrical equipment in different types of occupancies, such as residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. Familiarize yourself with the NEC requirements for special equipment and systems, such as emergency power systems, fire alarm systems, and hazardous locations. Remember that the Florida Electrician exams are designed to assess your knowledge and understanding of the NEC, as well as your ability to apply this knowledge to practical situations. Thorough preparation and a strong understanding of electrical principles are essential for success. The exam assesses a candidate's understanding of electrical theory, the National Electrical Code, and safe work practices. Firstly, understand the fundamental concepts of voltage, current, resistance, and power. These are the building blocks of all electrical circuits and systems. Secondly, the relationship between these quantities is defined by Ohm's law. This law is essential for calculating voltage drops, current flows, and power dissipation in circuits. Thirdly, the different types of circuits, such as series, parallel, and series parallel circuits. Understand how to analyze these circuits to determine voltage, current, and resistance values. Fourthly, the principles of alternating current, including frequency, phase, and impedance. This is essential for understanding the operation of AC power systems. Fifthly, the operation of common electrical components such as resistors, capacitors, inductors, transformers, and motors. Understand the characteristics and applications of each component. Sixthly, the types of electrical diagrams and schematics. This is essential for understanding and troubleshooting electrical systems. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards for the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. Firstly, the general requirements for electrical installations, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and bonding. Secondly, the specific requirements for different types of occupancies, such as residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. Thirdly, the requirements for special equipment and systems, such as emergency power systems, fire alarm systems, and hazardous locations. Fourthly, how to use the NEC to determine the correct wiring methods, conductor sizes, overcurrent protection, and grounding requirements for a given application. Understand the importance of safe work practices when working with electricity. Firstly, the hazards associated with electricity, such as electric shock, arc flash, and electrocution. Secondly, how to identify and mitigate these hazards. Thirdly, the use of personal protective equipment, such as gloves, safety glasses, and insulated tools. Fourthly, the procedures for de-energizing electrical equipment before working on it. Fifthly, the importance of follow and lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization of equipment. The Florida Electrician exams may also cover topics such as motor control, lighting, and communication systems. Firstly, the principles of motor control, including starting, stopping, and speed control. Secondly, the types of motor control circuits and devices. Thirdly, the requirements for installing and protecting motors. Fourthly, the different types of lighting systems, including incandescent, fluorescent, and LED lighting. Fifthly, the principles of lighting design and energy efficiency. Sixthly, the requirements for installing and controlling lighting systems. Seventhly, the basic principles of communication systems, such as telephone, data, and video cabling. Eighthly, the requirements for installing and terminating communication cables. In addition to technical knowledge, the Florida Electrician exams also assess a candidate's ability to apply the NEC and other standards to real-world situations. Firstly, practice answering sample questions and problems. Secondly, review case studies of electrical installations and identify potential code violations. Thirdly, visit job sites and observe the work of experienced electricians. Fourthly, attend continuing education courses to stay up to date on the latest codes and technologies. Before taking the exam, make sure you are familiar with the exam format and the types of questions that will be asked. Firstly, review the exam syllabus and identify the topics that will be covered. Secondly, take practice exams to assess your knowledge and identify areas where you need further study. Thirdly, familiarize yourself with the testing procedures and the rules for using reference materials. Fourthly, get a good night's sleep before the exam and arrive at the testing center early. When taking the exam, read each question carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked. Firstly, eliminate any obviously incorrect answers. Secondly, use your knowledge of the NEC and electrical theory to select the best answer. Thirdly, do not spend too much time on any one question. If you are unsure of the answer, move on to the next question and come back to it later. Fourthly, review your answers carefully before submitting the exam. Effective study habits are essential for success in the Florida Electrician exams. Firstly, create a study schedule and stick to it. Secondly, find a quiet place to study where you will not be disturbed. Thirdly, break down the material into smaller, more manageable chunks. Fourthly, use a variety of study methods, such as reading, note-taking, and problem-solving. Fifthly, review your notes and practice problems regularly. Sixthly, get enough sleep and eat healthy foods. The content of the Florida Journeyman and Master Electrician exams includes a range of topics related to electrical theory, the National Electrical Code NEC, and safe work practices. Firstly, the exams cover electrical theory, including topics such as Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's laws, series and parallel circuits, alternating current AC circuits, and three-phase power. Secondly, a strong understanding of these concepts is essential for solving many of the problems on the exams. Thirdly, the NEC is a comprehensive set of standards for the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. Fourthly, the exams cover a wide range of NEC articles, including those related to wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, bonding, equipment installation, and special occupancies. Fifthly, candidates must be familiar with the NEC requirements for different types of electrical systems and equipment. Sixthly, the exams also cover safe work practices, including topics such as electrical hazards, lockout/tagout procedures, personal protective equipment PPE, and first aid. Seventhly, candidates must demonstrate a commitment to safety and be able to identify and mitigate electrical hazards. In addition to these core topics, the exams may also include questions on related subjects such as motor control, lighting, and communication systems. Firstly, motor control questions may cover topics such as motor starters, overload protection, and variable frequency drives. Secondly, lighting questions may cover topics such as lighting design, energy efficiency, and lighting controls. Thirdly, communication systems questions may cover topics such as telephone systems, data networks, and fire alarm systems. In preparing for the Florida Electrician exams, it is important to focus on understanding the fundamental principles of electrical theory, mastering the NEC, and developing safe work habits. Firstly, candidates should review textbooks, study guides, and online resources to reinforce their knowledge of electrical theory. Secondly, they should spend time studying the NEC, paying particular attention to the articles that are most relevant to their work. Thirdly, candidates should also practice safe work habits on the job and participate in safety training programs. In addition to studying and practicing, it is also helpful to take practice exams to assess your knowledge and identify areas where you need to improve. Firstly, practice exams can help you become familiar with the format and content of the actual exams. Secondly, they can also help you identify your strengths and weaknesses so you can focus your study efforts on the areas where you need the most help. The NEC is organized into chapters, articles, and sections. Firstly, understanding this organization is crucial for quickly locating information within the code. Secondly, the chapters cover general topics, while the articles provide more specific requirements. Thirdly, the sections provide detailed instructions and specifications. Understanding the definitions provided in Article 100.1 is crucial. Firstly, the NEC uses specific terminology, and understanding these definitions is essential for interpreting the code correctly. Secondly, Article 100.1 provides definitions for many common electrical terms. Thirdly, it is important to review these definitions carefully. Branch circuits are covered in Article 210.1. Firstly, understanding the requirements for branch circuits is essential for designing and installing safe and effective electrical systems. Secondly, Article 210.1 covers topics such as branch circuit ratings, conductor sizing, and overcurrent protection. Feeders are covered in Article 215.1. Firstly, understanding the requirements for feeders is essential for providing adequate power to branch circuits. Secondly, Article 215.1 covers topics such as feeder sizing, voltage drop, and overcurrent protection. Overcurrent protection is covered in Article 240.1. Firstly, understanding the requirements for overcurrent protection is essential for preventing electrical fires and equipment damage. Secondly, Article 240.1 covers topics such as circuit breakers, fuses, and other overcurrent protection devices. Grounding and bonding are covered in Article 250.1. Firstly, understanding the requirements for grounding and bonding is essential for ensuring electrical safety. Secondly, Article 250.1 covers topics such as grounding electrodes, grounding conductors, and bonding jumpers. Wiring methods are covered in Chapter 3. Firstly, understanding the different types of wiring methods is essential for selecting the appropriate wiring method for a given application. Secondly, Chapter 3 covers topics such as conduit, cable, and raceway systems. Equipment for general use is covered in Chapter 4. Firstly, understanding the requirements for equipment for general use is essential for installing electrical equipment safely. Secondly, Chapter 4 covers topics such as receptacles, switches, and lighting fixtures. Special occupancies are covered in Chapter 5. Firstly, understanding the requirements for special occupancies is essential for ensuring electrical safety in these locations. Secondly, Chapter 5 covers topics such as hazardous locations, healthcare facilities, and swimming pools. Special equipment is covered in Chapter 6. Firstly, understanding the requirements for special equipment is essential for installing this equipment safely. Secondly, Chapter 6 covers topics such as electric science, electric vehicles, and solar photovoltaic systems. Remember that the NEC is a constantly evolving document, and it is important to stay up to date on the latest changes. Firstly, the NEC is revised every 3 years, and it is important to use the most current edition. Secondly, you can stay up to date on the latest changes by attending continuing education courses and reading industry publications. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to follow safe work practices at all times.